Hi, my name is Hannah Morris, and I am a student media producer at KAMU. I produced this audio story about an awesome event that happened recently. I hope you enjoy. When we think of first responders, we think of the hard work and bravery each person must have to take on a career that focuses on saving the lives of others. I believe that society acknowledges this bravery, but I don't think that a lot of people consider all of the training that is required. I recently had the opportunity to experience some of the trainings that our best and brightest first responders go through to simply be better at saving our lives. This was at Disaster City, a training facility owned and operated by Texas A&M Engineering Extension Service. K-9 coordinator Christy Borman broke down the basics of Disaster City for me.
We've taken Disaster City and we've worked it into as many real-world pieces that we could based on disasters that we have responded to in the past. And then we have a bunch of our own teammates as well as some other folks from teams around the country here today working through those scenarios so that they can learn all the things that we learned in the real world and take those forward for more disasters in the future.
Throughout my day, I got to look around at some of the impressive simulation sites, learn more about the value of the exercises, and talk to a few of the incredible individuals who make Disaster City so great. One of those people was Director of Texas Task Force 1, Jeff Saunders. We chatted about the almost 25-year-long legacy of Disaster City and why it is valuable to all of its trainees.
The people that come here are really looking for a hands-on experience. It is one of the premier places in the United States that we can be able to simulate the conditions that they're going to find in a real disaster. Nothing about what we do in search and rescue is a safe. You can't say that it's a safe sport. There's inherent risks in everything that we do, but we can reduce a lot of those risks here in Disaster City.
Almost all of the exercises conducted at Disaster City are replicas of previous disasters that these first responders have been deployed to. Saunders explained to me that this session's trainings focus on one specific scenario.
This particular exercise is built off of a hurricane that came in from the Gulf. So all of these teams are using the skills that they have to be able to, first of all, find survivors. That's our main job, is finding survivors. And then once we find those survivors, what is it going to take for us to extricate those survivors from the places that they are? So they're using special tools and specialized skills to be able to get those survivors out of those situations.
Kenneth Larson, a search team manager for Texas Task Force 1, has been coming to Disaster City since its inception. He explains that the teams who participate in these exercises bring a massive variety of skills that many of us don't even realize.
So you bring together structural rescue specialists, engineers, medics, physicians, search canines, technical search specialists, and we're able to cooperatively work on a simulated disaster.
As someone who has had his fair share of Disaster City trainings, Larson believes a controlled environment like this one is beneficial to each of the trainees.
That ability to take lessons learned from previous disasters and put them into play here in an exercise where you have the time to stop and take an administrative break, then gives the task force members and the responders more tools in their toolbox when they go out the door next week or next month on a real disaster.
I had the opportunity to venture into one of the training props myself, an apartment building that had collapsed. With my hard hat, gloves, and knee pads secured, I made the nerve-wracking crawl into one of the concrete openings to see for myself what conditions these first responders were operating in. These large-scale trainings required several task force members to be completed successfully, but volunteers like Michael Hernandez Jr., who sat in the rubble and waited to be found, also played a key role in Disaster City.
And I came down here just to see what Disaster City was. I've never seen anything like this. I was actually in the debris and was able to get pulled out from everyone doing the exercise. It was really nice to see. Got in there early. They did a search and rescue announcement saying, if you're able to walk, come towards me. They also sent out their canine. There was a dog that came and sniffed on me. And I didn't know if it was part of it, but yeah, the dog was just like, we have one unconscious, because that was my role, to be unconscious. So they kept talking to me and saying, and I couldn't respond to them at all. They were able to pull me out and get their mechanics on, seeing on how were they going to get unconscious people out, or seeing if anybody else was left behind.
Although Hernandez isn't a task force member, his experience as a volunteer at Disaster City showed him just how important these types of trainings are.
When stuff actually does happen in a real-world event, we know how to handle it. We know what to do, what mechanics to do, what agencies, what coordination that can all work together and what doesn't work together. And I feel like days like this, when it's sunny and bright outside, that's the days that you need to train for it.
Throughout my day at Disaster City, I was constantly in awe at the massive training props and the number of trainees. However, what really struck me was the kindness and care from each task force member. Not only were they so willing to explain each of their roles to me, but their intense passion about what they do spoke volumes in each of our conversations. I have no doubt that Disaster City is training some of the bravest and brightest individuals on state-of-the-art ways to save lives, and I feel so fortunate to get to shine a light on this one-of-a-kind place. From KAMU, I'm Hannah Morris.